You're really tired.
Alright, everybody listen up. When you are down here, we're at the pool. The lifeguard is always in charge at the pool and the river. So whatever they say goes. You have to obey them. If you're listening and obeying them, your campers will most likely follow in line. Like they said earlier, they're going to do what you were talking about this morning at Morning Jam. They're going to do what you do, hopefully, usually. So make sure you are following the rules, listening to the lifeguard, and doing what you're supposed to be doing. When it is canoe and kayak day, SALT members and counselors, it is your responsibility to help make sure that the campers, before they come down these steps, put on a life jacket and that it is correctly on. And then when the lifeguard, Abby, Colin, whoever's down here, tell you to come down the stairs, make sure the life jacket is on first. Do not get on the dock until the lifeguard tells you to. Don't horseplay on the dock. It's slippery, it's dangerous, it's shallow. We don't want anyone to fall in and get hurt. But it is your responsibility, guys, to help get them in and out of the canoes and kayaks, but also help get the canoes and kayaks in and out of the water. Because if the lifeguards were doing it, they wouldn't be able to do their job of guarding the lives of the ones that are in the water. So it is your responsibility, make sure everyone can hear me, boys and girls, to put the canoes in and out of the water and to help the kids get in and out of the water, to make sure they have their life jackets on the right way before they come down the stairs. And again, most likely Abby and Colin will be down here every day at River Day. They're in charge down here. Listen to what they say. Don't come down these stairs until they say. Don't get on the dock until they say. Don't go further than they tell you to. And I don't know what else. John, anything else? John David?
She died.
Anything else?
No. How far to go down? Not to go past the dock
well,
on the way back?
I didn't tell them. I figured they would have come down so they could see like the distance, but
Yeah. I'll explain it.
I just said not to go further than they say.
Yeah, that works. That's fine. You said that. Now, just a brief kind of explanation of how to use the paddles and stuff like that for any of y'all who may not know. For the kayak paddles, these are only used for the single and double kayaks. Don't use these in the canoe unless you just have two campers that just don't know what they're doing. Then it is fine for you to use this and be the only one paddling. But I think we only have the correct amount of double paddles like this that go with our kayaks. So that means a kayak has to not be used for you to be using one of these paddles. These, fairly simple. There's not really much technique or different ways to paddle them. You just want to make sure to put the entire paddle into the water and pull from in front of you, behind you. Same here. Now, if you don't want to get as tired as quickly, make sure that you're not just using your arms. If you just sit here and just use your arms, you can get tired pretty quick. But rather, if you actually kind of get a little bit of your body into it and pull, that'll help some. Now, when you're just cruising, just getting the campers around, you're not doing a whole lot. It's fine. But that's just, like, if you are trying to go fast or long, you want to kind of use your whole body into it. That one's hopefully fairly simple. And then for these, there are like a few different ways, especially if different things are happening. So if you ever need to paddle sideways, get the boat to go sideways. In a kayak, they can turn very easily. It's fine to just kind of paddle backwards, which I guess I should explain that first. If you're wanting to paddle backwards, put it in beside you and then push away from you. And if you're ever needing to turn, you'll pull forward on one side continually or pull forward and push backwards. Or you can just push backwards continually. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now for these, same kind of process happens, but the way you're supposed to hold them is the T-grip is the top. You should have your fingers over and thumb under. You should never let go of this T-grip. If you ever go whitewater rafting, they talk about how it's broken nose or broken teeth. There's some funny name that some of the guides will call it, because if you're ever not doing it, it can happen here, but more so like in fast moving water. If you're ever not holding it, or if you let go, you're more likely to have it slip and hit somebody else in the face. So we don't want that, so make sure you're always holding this. If you ever need a hand to do something else, let go of the hand that's on the bottom. Now you can have it switch between sides, not a big deal. When in a canoe, the more experienced person should sit in the back. They're typically the ones that control most of what's going on. A lot of people think that the person who knows how to steer goes in the front and the person in the back is more about power, but actually the back has the most control, both steering and power, and the front's just kind of a helpful guide with that. Now you can, the person in the front and the back, if y'all are doing opposite things, like they can kind of balance each other out, but typically the person in the back has the most control just because of the way the sitting and everything works. But to paddle, again, if you're just trying to paddle straight forward, stick it in, scrape back. Stick it in, scrape back. If you're trying to paddle backwards, put it in behind you, push forward. Put it in behind you, push forward.
If you're in a canoe and there's a person in the front and the back, which is usually who paddles, you want to do one on the right, one on the left.
Yeah, just trying to stay straight,
so two
yes.
people, they'll paddle on opposite sides.
Yeah, if you start to veer to the left, then you want to paddle on the left side, switch hands, paddle on the left side, so it'll turn you back to the right. If you're starting to go too far to the right, put it back on the right side and paddle, and it'll turn you to the left. If you need to turn around in a canoe, there'll be two people. Usually what's best is to have one person paddle backwards on one side and the other person paddle forwards on the other side. That typically will just take the canoe and just rotate it right in its place. That's the best way to do it. Now, if you are starting to get close to one of the banks or under the trees and back paddling is not necessarily working, you can set the paddle in against the side of the boat and then fulcrum towards you and push the paddle out. That'll actually push the water and allow the boat to just slide sideways. To get the most kind of power when paddling forward is actually more of a J motion. On the right side, it would be like a backwards J, but you kind of take it and rotate away from you like that, how I'm kind of making a J, and then on this side, kind of take away into a motion like that. Any questions about that? Everybody understand? Hopefully it's not too hard, but just want to make sure everybody did understand what those were. And no questions about helping people in and out? Good. Again, y'all should be putting the canoes up. If it is well, let me ask, last year, did y'all put the boats in the same spot no matter if it was the first group or last group, or did y'all put any up at the end of the day? Okay, cool. So whenever you're putting them up, just double check with the lifeguards, but you want to make sure it's completely off the pathway. And if we're expecting like heavy rain or something, we'll need to make sure they get put all the way up where we currently have them. We've actually had a bunch of rain, that's why they're that way. But make sure you get them all the way up for that, and then the paddle boards, they're the easiest to carry up above, so those will kind of go always on the top. And paddle boards count only as a swimming activity, correct? So don't ask to use a paddle board when they're out there canoeing and kayaking. If paddle boards are being used during swim time, you need to be aware and help watch, kind of keeping the kids, or if you are using a paddle board, away from the kids that are swimming a bunch. And don't go back and forth under the swing whenever it's swim time if you're on a paddle board. Try to stay on one side or the other, and when you pass, try to stay on the wide side and wait until nobody is swinging so that there's no risk of anybody getting hurt. On the swing, during swim time, I don't know if Kristen said this, there's only supposed to be the lifeguard and two people waiting in line, the one going and one person waiting in line. There should never be more than that unless the photographer is there to take pictures or videos. They're the only ones that have the exception to add extra people up there. Now, lifeguard may have a discernment judge of a camper being scared. They may let a staff member up there, but don't ever ask to go up there. If the SALT members will determine, hey, this person's getting a little scared, maybe it would help if their counselor comes, then they may ask you to come. Don't just sit there and ask them to be up there with your camper all the time. Yeah, guides. Thanks.
Something about canoes. The easiest way, if some of y'all don't know this, when you or your campers are getting into the canoe, the easiest way is to sit on the dock. So sit all the way down, put your feet in, and then scoot your butt and sit down. Because if they're standing on the dock and they step into the canoe, it's wobbly. They can either fall into the canoe or in the water. So make sure that, even for you, lead by example, sit down, scoot your butt in, and then help them and tell them to do the same.
And if a flip does happen in a canoe or kayak, please be willing to help get that canoe or kayak out. Now, sometimes with some of the kids, them doing that, it's kind of, no, you need to learn from what you were doing. You were doing something you were told not to. You've got to get the canoe out. Sometimes that's the case. That's going to be kind of up to the lifeguard or the guides that are down there, because you may not be with, it may not necessarily be your kids, but whatever guides are down there, they'll make that decision. But y'all need to be willing to help get those things out. It can be really hard to do that, and it's hard to get a canoe out and watch kids at the same time. So if you can help them get canoes and kayaks out, please do so. Best way to do it is to just bring it all the way down to right here where you can stand. Keep it upside down as you pull it out. That way all the water drains as you are going out. If you try to flip it and pull it out, it's really heavy because you're carrying thousands of pounds of water probably. At least hundreds, if not thousands. Any other questions, or do you have anything to add that we may have forgotten? All right. Does everybody get the gist of how to enter into the canoes and kayaks? What we're looking for, or do y'all need to see that demonstrated? I feel like Kristen explained it pretty well. All right, you can cut the video archery stuff first, and then we'll go over all the river stuff, and then clean the canoes and kayaks. All of the archery and slingshot stuff is in. It stays in the outdoor ball closet. It's the little shed area right in front of the sand pit. If during cabin time your cabin goes out there to do that, SALT members, you're required for getting that and helping carry it out there. Sometimes it can be hard to carry all of it, so the guides will help you, but kind of SALT members, it's your goal to get it out there and to remember to bring it back. Even if, let's say, the boys SALT members are out there and Jake's cabin uses it and Jane Matthews' cabin's going after, or they're like, hey, we're going to go out there as well. Unless they see them while they're out there, you need to go ahead and switch it, because sometimes plans change. Things happen. Rain comes in between people switching because Snack Shack's in between them. So make sure you put it up every single time. That way, at the end of the week or at the end of the summer, when I'm looking for the stuff, it's not, oh yeah, so-and-so said they were going to use it, and then they never went out there and used it. Make sure it gets put up every time your cabin's done using it back in the shed the way you found it. Now, how to use them? All the kids need to make sure that they have safety glasses. We keep these with the slingshots in a little bucket. They're more than welcome to use these. If they're wearing other kind of glasses, that's fine. We just want to make sure their eyes aren't going to get hit. So just something to cover their eyes. Some people like wearing these over their glasses because they're protecting their normal glasses, because those can be expensive. They're more than welcome to wear just these. If they want to wear their own glasses, they're fine. If they're wearing sunglasses, that's fine. But they have to wear glasses to protect their eyes. Then when shooting them, it's just pretty much one command. Like, you get them all sitting down, no more than 4 people at a time doing them. Have them sit or stand right behind the table that's right there. You tell them to have it opened up all the way, stick your arm through and grab the handle, and then that rests to give the kind of momentum on it. They will take one of these clay balls. We're trying to keep up with these and keeping them in there. But sometimes it may just be like small rocks or something. Sometimes that's the supply that's in there. But whatever the item is they're shooting, they'll set it right in the middle and then pinch around it. And then they'll aim looking down and shoot. Never let them aim or pull back if they're facing people. They're only allowed to aim if they're down range. Once they're down, you can say aim, fire when ready, and they'll just shoot all of however many you gave them. Typically, the best thing to do is give them like 10 or 15 to start. Once they do that, let the next camper go. And if y'all still have time, then you can just keep letting them shoot and just kind of adjust that way. Make sense? Any questions about slingshots? If y'all ever have like cans, things like that, you're welcome to bring the cans down there and set them up as targets. You can leave them down there. They're great things to use for that. But if you do bring any other type of snacks or candy, make sure you get your trash and leave with it. Don't leave it down there. Now for archery, a little different. You're going to command each time they're going to do the arrow. Well, you don't have to. That's what we like, but you can just command it the first time and then let them do it and just watch and make sure they're not. But what the commands are, once you get them up there and they're ready, there'll be a little tube that these sit in. You'll say, grab your arrow, knock your arrow. It's the technical term, but that means to put it onto the line. Once they knock it, you can say aim down range. So they'll pick up, aim down the range, and then you can tell them to pull back and fire when ready. And they will pull back and shoot it at the targets. Again, typically we do about 5 to 10 arrows per kid, and then switch. It's just the best way to do it to make sure everybody at least got an opportunity that wants it. With these, to figure out if they're left-handed or right-handed, I think we have 2 left-handed, or left-eyed, technically, bows, and then the rest are right-eyed or right-handed is how most people look at it. The way to do that is to have them stand like 10, 15 feet away, just enough to have a distance. Tell them to put your face in the middle of the triangle, and then close both eyes, and whatever eye they can still see you in, or if you're looking at them, whatever eye you can see, if they're just standing here like this, is their dominant eye. And we're going to practice that in a second, but that's the eye for them to use. Some people, mine's usually that way. Is it, Sydney? Are both my eyes in the triangle? Okay, that means I could shoot either way if I wanted to. Both my eyes are good to do that. It's just whatever's more comfortable for how I hold it. I typically shoot left-handed. That's just how it's comfortable for me. So that's how you determine it. We'll practice that in a second, but do y'all have any questions about that and the safety that goes with it? During both archery and slingshot, make sure the kids that aren't participating are sitting back and staying behind. And then after shooting, with slingshots, you will not retrieve the little clay balls. They deteriorate. That's the kinds that we're getting, so you don't have to worry about that. And even if they didn't, like, it's not anything that's harmful. If we're shooting rocks, like, it's not harmful to the area. But for the arrows, after everyone shoots them, then you'll give the command, go and retrieve your arrows. And they need to retrieve as many as they shot. Do not let them cross the boundary where the table is until everyone has shot them. Even if, when they're trying to get ready to shoot, they accidentally drop one. Tell them to not touch it until everybody else has shot. That makes sense? Perfect. You can stop the video for now.